welcome to our podcast. I think you were on here before, right?
Yeah, I think last semester, right? I think so.
Yeah.
Something like that.
I thought we talked about. I think we talked a little bit about Litecoin. Yeah. We did. I don't remember what we talked about though. Do you remember the topic?
Um, Not really. I think we honestly just kind of just ended up going off page a little bit too.
Yeah, I know we went off topic. I'm almost promising that. So we think we talked about Orlando. Oh yeah, we talked about Orlando. We talked about kind of its inception and talked about kind of where they came from and your ideas, and then we kind of did like a storyline of, or not a storyline, a timeline more or less on kind of the process was like 2018 to pretty much up to when I came aboard and then kind of forward. So I do actually now I recall that now that I'm thinking of it.
Oh yeah, yeah. I remember some funny moments in that.
Yeah. Um. So today I've been waiting for this podcast to talk with you about this because I remember you and I. You're like, dude, you gotta wait like a certain amount of time, and I'm like, damn, dude, like I just there's talk about with this topic, and I remember yourself and I bring like conjuring up some ideas and things to talk about, and I was like, okay, we need to talk about this. So finally, we had the chance. So um, we're gonna be talking about esports, and again, about this topic for hours, right? Hours. And what what is so seeing that you're younger than I am, you so I've been able to see esports grow from something that was, I want to say, not talked about at all, but like pretty much not talked about at all. So it was something that people kind of not people. I don't even think people even knew about it really. It was all like the behind,
Yeah,
like digital behind the scenes kind of
underground
stuff.
kind of.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
yeah,
was gonna think. I remember like other countries, it was quite literally underground places.
yeah. Because like pretty much back then, I don't have my notes on me right now, but um, yeah. I mean, it's just like they it was all like MLG stuff, and it was all like online online competition in a way, but like it wasn't nothing extravagant, you know?
Yeah, I mean we had. I mean my peak. I'll say my peak was AW. So I was on GB doing 2v2 hardpoint time. But I remember it was what we had UGC, uh, gosh, CMG came out later. I mean, I forget there was a company that there was a money fraud company that was a sponsor too. Those whole tournaments, money matches I think was the name of it.
Money
Uh,
Matt, really?
it there was what was it? So I mean, a decent amount of them are still around today, and they're also involved in collegiate, game battles, still, hosting the main ladders. Um, it's
Bro,
really just,
dude.
where do the players
Yeah,
still
keep going.
go? Is the ones came around and stayed around was who had the best customer service. That's who really stayed around.
Well, the only experience I've had was MLG. I don't think I did sign up for CMG and UMG, just never did it. Um, but there was I remember doing GBs a lot actually, and it was me. That was more. God, when was that? We competed a little bit. It was more my brother actually. My brother competed a little bit more than I did. Um, and that was more in Black Ops. No. Yeah, Black Ops One, and then when Black Ops 2 came out, that's when I pretty much started competing for the most part. So then I did. I remember doing GBs, and it was a 3v3. It was myself, my brother, and a good friend of ours, and we did pretty well actually. And the funny thing is, we did pretty well, even though our friend of ours, his his internet was so bad you could literally see him skipping across the map, skip, 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 skip. But yet he was doing so well, and it could be attributed to people couldn't hit him as well. I don't know, but like when he got better internet, oh my gosh, he was so good. It was insane.
Yeah, now it's like, do you have the internet? Do you have the right GPU? It's the right controller. It all comes down to what do you have to, right monitor. Is it a 1 millisecond monitor? If you have a 2 millisecond, all right, you're already dead.
Mm-hmm.
It's at the point where it is pay to play, and no one wanted to see it get to that point.
Right.
I mean, we saw the exclusives come out. That was the first thing that, I remember saying, all right, this is going downhill. But I don't think anyone truly imagined that we'd be seeing it. All right, you are paying, the price of, the original Xbox 360 and Xbox One even for components to be able to play esports. That is, it's just kids following their dreams. Do they end up getting that money back? Do they not? Who knows? I mean, I've known players who have gone through 6 PCs plus, and they just end up giving those
How
PCs
many?
that have 6 plus, and they just end up giving them to family members, or they just end up having them in their house from, a 1060 to 2070s. Now they're upgrading to 3060 Ti. Some people are going all their way, going crazy on the 4090 Founders Edition. I'm sorry, if you are doing that, you are going a little bit too crazy with the 4090 Founders Edition. Because the money for it, sure, but I would personally spend that money somewhere else.
Right.
Especially if you got a 3060 Ti. But that's something where we never thought we would have even been talking about this. When people were, it was always a debate, what is the best, console or PC? Now we're having to play on PC to even play console. I actually got something for Christmas. I can now play my phone, play PlayStation, play Xbox One from my phone. So it's to the point where, all right, everything's around $1,000. I think that's just going to be the standard of where do you want to play. It's, you got mobile gaming is more, APAC. I think that's going to be a huge hit for APAC for PlayStation. They're going to make big bucks off that. They already had it already. If not, that's going to be a big hit in the States for, I would say, I mean, we saw the boom for Fortnite. That's going to be a huge boom. I mean, these kids are going to love that, I would assume. Being able to play Fortnite, be better at the game. And, it's only probably around $30, maybe $40 for it. That's less than a PS4 controller. PS4 controllers are $60 for a default.
What's a PS5 controller at price wise?
I would honestly, I believe all controllers. I was on Amazon around this. Again, this is a holiday, so everything might be some marked up. But I would still say that they're the same. PS4, PS5, Xbox One. It's all the same. They're truly just the same. And I got my PlayStation 4 here, and honestly, it's still running. I'm playing Overwatch just for fun. I love COD, but having a break, play Overwatch.
What did you see?
I don't know.
Did you see that PS5 has their own, kind of like their own scuff controller?
That is one thing I saw, and I was thinking honestly about, because I do see a few friends that. Well, okay, that was a big flash of lightning. But that do have that scuff controller, and the only issue I would say with that is the paddles. they're not the same paddles. Like, honestly, if I'm Scuff, you're already in distribution, make it the same paddles for the Xbox, the PlayStation, everything the same. Start putting them out into your like Walmarts more, so people can get them for, 150, and then if they want to do something, have those extra options for the extra money. Don't just be like, you gotta wait, 3 to 6 weeks for your controller and spend $250 minimum plus shipping.
Well,
Personally,
can you even get just a console though? Like I feel like people are finding them more now, but I don't see I don't see the availability yet, if that makes sense. Like if you don't go to the store and I don't see them just sitting on the shelf, you know?
yeah, no, and I mean, my cousin, he had a PlayStation before it broke, and he didn't know what to get. He didn't know. They were lucky; they did find a PS5. Um, but he was like, "I'm for the price of this PS5, I can go out and get an Xbox One Slim with like 6 other games."
Mm-hmm.
So they're there, but they're just spiked, or you have to like have a connection to someone who's just been holding on to it. That's like, all right, I just don't want it. I'll have it for the same that I got it for. I'm yet to see it honestly. I've seen maybe you've seen them like photos of shelves of PS5s and PS4s. No, I have not seen that anywhere. From back at college in Midland to Boston to going online to seeing the availability of online, I have not seen that, and it's
Well, so then I also saw something about they're coming out with their next, not the next gen, but like the PS5 like Pro, or you know what I mean? Like it's um their next version per se. And supposedly that's like I think it's almost gonna be like their redo. So like when they initially launched the first time, availability of parts and microchips and processors and stuff like that were hard to find, and that obviously made an impact on availability. So like the supply and demand obviously was just gone. You know what I mean? Like the demand was so high, and they just couldn't produce enough to satisfy the supply or the demand. Excuse me. So I think this is gonna be their redo, and they're gonna try redoing it where they can make it more available. Because I mean, dude, I mean it's pretty evident that people have complained about you can't find one. If you find one, people are trying to do a resale and like up market, and it's just yeah, I don't know. But to tie that into to the esports and where that's at, I feel like they need to go back to console. And the reason I say that is that one increases. Let's look at this a couple different ways. One, that increases um, demand for console, which sucks in a way. But they could, I mean, realistically, they could go to Xbox. Seeing that Microsoft bought out. Who did they buy out again? Activision.
so. I mean, the FTC did file against the lawsuit against them, so we are seeing what goes on. I mean, I could see. I don't know. I mean, Microsoft, you are, yes, the biggest, I would say, but if you let them acquire Activision, I don't know personally. I this it's I would like to see it go to Microsoft in hopes that it goes to console. That's what I would love to see. But do I think that's going to happen? Unfortunately, no. I just think there's going to be maybe an exclusive like they did say before, and and there were lies about exclusives. I believe that was PlayStation that lied about having exclusives. So that's why they're cracking down. FTC's cracking down. But like you said, I wish it was, everything stayed on console where it was, all right, we're all playing on the same thing. It's easier to see if someone's hacking. It's easier to see if someone's doing this. All right, the only difference, all right, maybe this person has a monitor. They're buying a Battle Beaver, or they're buying a Scuff. Okay, that's right there about $400, $500. Add those two together. But they want to make it to the next level. That's the money that they're going to put towards it. They can go on. You can play some wagers with that money. That's something that they can do. But if we're talking about a PC, a 4090 that just came out, that that a Founders Edition for looks that goes inside your PC.
But that's the problem, though. But that's the problem. And I mean, there's people that can spend it. There's also people that are. There's probably the vast majority of people that can't afford it, and I feel like that's the gap. You get these people that one, if they have aspirations of to be pro or do something of that nature, they're like, okay, well, I have to justify spending a couple grand on a really good computer to, one, just be able to run some sort of game like that, and two, to keep up with someone that is competing at that kind of level. You know what I mean? So like, it's such a crapshoot because like now there's a gap. Like when there was console, there's no gap. It's all this. It's literally everything is the same. Besides the variables shrink from you have the same console. The only variables you're going to have is internet, and I guess you could have a 100 whatever kind of monitor realistically that you want to use, and your controller. That's it, literally it. But then if you go to computers and these PCs, now you have different processing units. You have different parts and pieces. It just goes on. So like I think you go back to console. Now you give the amateur per se the chance to make something of himself with less variables.
Yeah, and I mean, whether they go to even I'm gonna just, I know Alienware has a great PC that has like a 2070 in it. So I'm gonna use just their default PC that I see a lot of colleges use to run up. I think it's around like 1250 or something like that. Like there's a nice PC that can get you through what you need, but just think of again what you could have done to get there already. And I'm not talking about the actual like controller, your monitor. I'm talking about, okay, let's go to a LAN event. That's a LAN right there. That is a trip to go prove yourself at Challengers. That's not, just can we prove to people online?
I'm going to interject real quick. I'm going to interject. So with this last event that happened, there was an open, correct? It was an open for like the Challenger.
Correct, the Pro Am.
Okay. So I think what's interesting about that, a buddy of mine, I know you know the name PRS because I remember I've spoken about that with you. Team that did pretty well. They top 8, 7th or 8th or something like that. So they did pretty well for the most part. Oh yeah, I showed you the team, and they're a good team. They do really well. They're doing something right now too. They're just in an event, not an event, but like a tournament or something. But anyways, I feel like this is the first time I've seen something like that where it's given amateurs or the Challenger or Pro-Am scene something to showcase them and to showcase their abilities. Is that correct?
Yeah, and I honestly will say I think we are on. I think the next wave of players is about to come. Like I think this age of players, we got Stomper, Crim 60s coming out. I think this is when the next wave is about to come for Call of Duty at least.
Oh, did you see Sheen retired too?
Yeah, I mean, we're seeing that's the thing. We're seeing a lot of players hire. Um, I mean, we're seeing guys that were with us with ORL, um, whether they make it to an academy team or now they're on, shout out to Mac and Sib out on that main stage. It really shows what happens in 3 years. But they, they got recognized from small events.
Mm-hmm.
These players, it wasn't like they got recognized from let me go out of my way and buy expensive anything.
Or play
They're
a league play or something.
exactly it. It was let me go online, let me have some fun with my friends, and that's what it was. That whole trip was let's have fun. We go. I get there. I was the last one to arrive at the house. They're playing pool. Sib's playing basketball. That's all what it was, and that's what video games should be, and esports should be. Should just be let's have fun and let's eat. It shouldn't be a worry about all right. We gotta spend every 3 months we gotta upgrade something of our setup. It should be all right. Let's buy this console, or let's buy. I don't know whether they come out with a PC that has the exact same components. It's Microsoft. We'll call it the Microsoft 360 PC. I don't know, but
Well,
they come out with something like that. Like I feel like there just needs to be a standard.
what this last event, um, they had the pro am scene there competing, but this I didn't get to see the stations. I saw some pictures, but I didn't really look in detail. Did they have the same setups as kind of like the pros did, where they had PCs at every single station, or no?
Yeah, yeah. So what it was I'm gonna say just picture. So it was 4v4. You're just looking right at your opponent. Same PCs that were on main stage. Um, Also your own headsets. I'm unsure if they made you have the extra in-ear ones because it is a LAN event. Um, a lot of times they do make you have extra in-ears and then your own headset, but I don't know. Uh, so it was pretty set up like a casual LAN. With the PCs, that would be the same on main stage. Uh, Someone from Norther was there. Back with Phase One, they had a great run, um, and it's I'm happy for him. He's proving himself because like we actually started this, we started talking about internet. A lot of people say it's about internet these days. I'm not going to name who said this about this player, but he's a very well-known player. He called him out, and he got first rounds at this pro-am. That says something right there. It's focus on this. Esports should just be a group of friends doing what they want, just like everything else should be. It's a brotherhood sport.
Yeah, and you get the camaraderie that's built. I feel like is something that lasts. I mean, you've experienced it. I've experienced it somewhat. Um, it's that's what it should be, but it's become such a conglomerate, such a business related area that it's it, yeah, the franchising, the just yeah, I don't know, man. It's just I don't want to say it's less fun to watch, but like I get so bored, dude. Like these events that go on to Twitch and stuff, like I I barely watch them to go like, oh, I don't even know. It's just another franchise thing. You have soccer or football, you have hockey, baseball, football. All this stuff is franchise, and I get it. There's revenue brought in because of it, sponsorship, etc., etc. I get it, but at the end of the day, it's just I feel like it's less fun to watch because I always enjoyed watching um, your loser bracket teams or these smaller teams that go there to make a name for themselves just make a run, you know? Like this team that you never heard of. Like I'm okay with the names and I'm okay with maybe like the franchise names, whatever. But like if you're gonna make this pro am thing, I mean I don't know how they would restructure it, but like just give these smaller teams a chance to play these bigger teams too. That's how some of these players, Grim, whoever, that's how they made things back in the day. That's literally how they did it. Not this franchise program separated crap, dude. There's no way. Like there's such a separation gap between the league and the pro am scene or the amateur scene that it's so much harder to make that step than it should be. And I
Yeah,
just
and that.
yeah.
Sorry, keep going.
No, you're good.
I want to on not only that is, it's the friendship groups are stronger now than they were back, when Seth and Nate shot and everyone was, starting their careers. The community is just that tight. Everyone has their circle that they trust already,
Mm-hmm.
and I feel like if you're not already in one, it is pretty tough to get in one. To be accepted into a open arms into it, you're gonna have to meet them at least in person once or twice, and I feel and it's it's just I'm with you. Like there's nothing better than the MLG days where I remember it was the loser bracket run. I think Atlanta Reapers were playing Gone Gaming, and it's like I'm on the edge of my seat. All of a sudden, it's like, and Gone Gaming are gone like that. I miss like when the casters would like hype up like the lower bracket ones, and all right, how far are they gonna go? Like, you don't know how far a team's gonna go. Like I miss that, or at least 6 challengers. And I could go on for days about how I would want the challengers scene to be, and it's just
How would you
broken.
restructure it? Like if you go from say it's a 3 day event, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, how would you restructure it where it maybe ties into these? I mean, is this a strict challengers, or are we talking like the challengers leaks into playing these league teams?
I mean, it's I just don't see the challengers isn't getting the recognition. That's what I can just say. Like it does not get the recognition it deserves, and you can see that with the academy teams. You got LAG, you got Rocker, you got Boston Academy. They have Sensor. Why isn't the viewership larger with academy teams playing, especially when these matches have been ridiculously close between some of the main ones. Like you should be wondering, okay, this team could actually be. They should be in the main. They shouldn't be the. They should not be the academy. They should possibly be the main, or at least you should be sitting down and talking with everyone. We might have to do some roster mania. So I don't know what's going on. Especially, it's a $300 million league, and that is without that is just the league fees. We're just talking $25 million league fees. We're
I thought
not
it was.
talking about
Wait. How much did you say it was for just a league fee?
$25 million.
Okay, I thought wasn't it initially like 10 million when like coming with that was Modern Warfare, right? That's when they franchised.
Um,
I think that's when they
um,
franchised because I remember that was the game where they had like Chicago Huntsman and um I can't remember. I'm pretty sure that's the game.
uh, I know, but so I mean, I know a lot about like what happened with Boston and the extra investment that they had to get from Boston influencers. I'll say, I'm not gonna give out the name. Was an extra $20 million. So they had to get an extra $20 million, and you could see what happened year one. That who the sponsor was, and they needed that. They couldn't start the season unless they had that for a lot of reasons. I mean, you got to get everything going that you would at a regular business. You got to get your marketing. You got to salary everyone. It's like you got to show you have everything set to the franchise, not just $25 million. You got to show that, yeah, we're set for this year. We're set for the next year. We're set as a franchise. We are a set company, so we can actually come in and be a team. So it's to the point. I just want to see the challengers focus more on that. Host tournaments for challengers.
Do you know
Why why 12 challengers out?
you know who that makes me think of? Who do you think that makes me think of that we worked with that kind of was about the amateurs and then sold out for the money? Who am I thinking of? Come on, you know. Come on.
I honestly don't.
Come on. I'm not gonna say his name. We'll say what's the he partnered with not well don't say the name but like they partnered with yeah the
Okay.
Mutineers.
All right. Yeah, I see what you mean, and we've been unfortunately like we've seen a few name changes like that with some other people
Mm-hmm.
similar, and it just wraps right back into its business and it's what they have to do to keep their business going.
And hey,
But
all power
they
to him,
made
but
it
that's just in my opinion that's just selling out on your purpose, like for
of
what
starting it all up.
that was your whole premise of your business was to give the little guy an opportunity to shine.
Yeah, and
And
I mean
the
you got two guys now that are in the league who thank you specifically that event from 2018. You know, they thanked him specifically for that event. That that was an event that got them some exposure,
mm-hmm.
and
but
I'm not
but
saying that
you don't
because
see
I
those
believe
anymore.
the guy.
I mean,
You don't, and
isn't I think
I
and
talked to the guys, and
isn't
it's
NJ Rod
sad.
still going on the East Coast?
Yeah, I believe to my knowledge, I believe NJ Rod is, MES is, AGN has switched to CGN, um, and then everything else in my all collegiate and CL.
So I guess we could. Okay, so we'll kind of like concede on that topic. Yeah, we both kind of have always been a firm believer in okay, if you want your sport, we'll say it's a sport, right? If you want that sport to grow, you need the little guys. Because if you don't have the little guys, and because obviously they have a mass, they've expanded exposure on Twitch and YouTube, et cetera, because of viewership. But if you want your sport to grow, and because if you think about it, NFL, all these pro sports, kids grow up wanting to do that, and they want to prove themselves by doing that, so they would go to college to do it, et cetera. And you do that now to go to college to be an esports player, or you can kind of that you can. There's more exposure to that now than there was when I was that age, and I think what's nice about now is there's more of a. There used to be there was a stigma on gamers, right? Fat old dude, not fat old dude, this fat dude sitting in his chair, eating Cheetos, out of shape, etc. Now maybe that was more true in the 80s and 70s, but now the stigma has shifted to, you have these control drinks, you have energy drinks that are more. I don't want to say they're healthier, but there's better stuff in them per se, like even G Fuel and all these other drinks, Juggernaut. um, they're better alternatives for sure than like a Red Bull Monster, but like there's still a lot of stuff in them that are not the best for you in mass consumption, right? And um, I then I wrote down Gymshark. Like now Jim, is it Gymshark? No, Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. So
yeah, they've Harold and Shark. Yeah.
there's a connection with them with gamers. Like there's a huge population of people that promote Gymshark in the gaming community. Obviously, I think Sensor was one of them for a while. I don't think he is anymore, but I remember him repping that stuff for quite a long time. But there's a shifting stigma of gamers, and there's health in there's mental health, there's just regular health involved in that, which is cool. But it's sad to see the little guy who's the common person promoting G Fuel behind the scenes, buying the products, just the games and stuff. It's those people that are losing out on the opportunity to, you know, become pro because they have a lack of financial stability to buy these mass gaming quantities or gaming setups, and just kind of stick with the times per se, and they don't have the exposure like we just talked about. They don't have that ability, and if you need to do that, you have to literally somehow find a way. You know, you have to find a way to be seen. So like that's the sad part, and yeah, kind of like a 360 on that. But yeah, from game battles back in the day to you have the pro league, it's been an interesting shift in competitiveness for esports. But anyways, so I want to talk a little bit about Litecoin, and the reason I want to talk about Litecoin, and this isn't like in vast detail. Let's get write this down. But are you so talk about Litecoin and where they are right now on an esports. Like where are you guys Litecoin Esports? Where do you I'll include like a thumbnail or something in like an actual video for YouTube, but where is Litecoin at right now as far as esports?
So we actually had a team. I'm blanking exactly what the placement was. We were in the 14. We made it all the way to the finals of 14 feet. Warzone 100K.
Oh, you
We
had a
played,
Warzone team?
yeah, and they did very, very well. They placed right before the last CDL team. I forget who that was, um, but it was they unfortunately just had that one event, and then after that, it was the Apex guys just started going ham, and they just won recently. The last Challengers 3, to put them into Split 2, and it's all in top 5 killers for that week. It's so that's I mean those guys for Apex are something else. Like that's all I can say is we
So you
we
guys
literally we go out. We're like, hey, you win this week, Sam, Daniel, McLovin, we got you. Put some trolls out as a meme. These guys are ready to take on the pro league, and they're just ready to take on the world. So, you know me, I love watching someone succeed to make it to the next level. So, if it's with Litecoin, or if they do get an offer that they can't, refuse, I just want the best for these guys. They've proved themselves, and that's one thing I want to say. Apex does a great job at promoting its Challengers League. God, pay attention to how they do it. It's on the weekends. Find time, communicate with the leagues. It's not too hard, Activision. I know, because there were issues, with some of the collegiate LAN events. Like, there was no, I'm not gonna say, but it's just there's a lot of things that Activision has to get right as planning.
and why don't
There's
you
a
think that
lot.
they've been doing this for I would say a while now, Why don't you think they've been able to do it right?
I want to say, well, the amount of people now that, so let's go back to, you remember NGE from Boston.
Mm-hmm.
He got an email saying that he could no longer, host the events because, Activision didn't allow him to. The amount of events that, people just didn't care if they got the okay from Activision or, back then it was just, we're hosting tournaments. We're not asking for permission. Now you have all these official companies hosting, large prize money, whether it's for collegiate, we even have high school now. Locals are still there, and they got to get the approval from Activision now because it's a franchise.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just conflicting with everything because then you have, let's say, you got collegiate, you got the Pro AM. Okay, you got the Pro AM. All right, you also got scrims. While you got that, you got something going on, we got local. Like, there's so many things going on for these teams that they have to lay out probably almost a year in advance. And some of these players, I can say, North recently, they had to play while they were in playing for closing out the Vanguard season. They had to play while they were at a LAN event. That was the only way they could play for their Challengers team. Was we had to, rent some. Thankfully, there's a place that was open until 4 a.m. for them. If there wasn't a place open until 4 a.m., that would be 2 teams that would have to forfeit.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not what you want, is for them to say, okay, am I going to forfeit our collegiate team and play for our challengers because they're a T8 and a T4 rosters? Or are we going to have them, play for the college that they're at? Like, that's a big issue right there.
How much is the collegiate level? How much does that play into the pro scene ish? Like, does it kind of tie in a bit at all, or do you think they look at that level or caliber of player, or what do you think?
I mean, I would hope they're looking at the CCL or the CDL, considering, I'm going to use Kev. Congrats, Kev. You're on Rocker Kev right now. That's a huge dub, But again, it ties into what are they doing beyond just the collegiate level. You can't just play collegiate and expect to, boom, make it to the next level. You have to prove yourself outside of just collegiate, because you do have those universities that will be club teams. So it will be just a group of friends. Let's say, you, me, your brother, and my brother, going up for a full, LAG Academy team. We know who's going to win that one. So it is pretty new. But we've seen, when I was looking at colleges, there was less than 150 that had esports. Now there are 500 that have Call of Duty. Over 500 that have Valorant. And, I mean, that just shows how fast it's grown over, 3 years. So I mean...
So the quality of player is good in that scene.
I honestly, I would say you got the friendships because they're already the players that are up at the top. They're going to be, playing all these top challengers teams. They're going to be in those friendship circles. They're already going to be known. And yeah, I mean, I think they're going to be known who they are. And I would say that maybe not so just watching all of the CCL. If they're not doing that, what they should, it doesn't matter the team. I don't just watch Northwood. I don't know the amount points of CCL and CCL Bravo. I mean, I wouldn't be shocked if the CDL was like, all right, and I'm not just saying the CDL. Goes to the players in the CDL, the coaches and the analysts, probably saying, all right, let's watch this university versus this university and this university. So they probably have, a few universities in their mind of who they're watching, but you got to expand because, there's definitely going to be an underground university that pops off one year, pops off one night, that, one person could be great at what you need. And that's all it is. Everyone's a piece of a puzzle. They could not fit at, one college. They could take a college to the national championship later that season. Could they do the same at the CDL?
How
Who knows?
how many colleges participate at that level?
So, I mean, there's NACE, NECC, UGC.
I mean, does
And
does it depend on the genre of game?
yeah. So for I'll use Valorant for an example. For the Red Bull College that just ended recently, 500 teams competed to represent USA.
Dang.
So shout out USA for coming out on top and winning the world championship. But it really does show you, I mean, just how fast and how many colleges have started to grow their esports program from, I mean, when I was looking, there was basically nothing in Massachusetts. Now I walk out in Boston, I'm like, okay, here we go. Left, right, left, right, left, right. I really, there's a lot of universities in Boston that I would, I would love to see these universities, they're D1, great at this. Let's see them take it to the next level. Let's see what that would look like, because for your, I would say it's a sport now. Esports is a sport. I mean, you can make it full time.
Didn't we talk
And
about
just
that
like
last
anything.
time? No,
I want to see Josh.
was
Yeah.
that you or Marty? It was one of it was I think it was you. We were talking about uh if the classification of a sport and how we can classify esports as a sport compared to um like a football or baseball or something of that nature, And I mean, again, that's something we can always talk about later on too. But like, I'm like in between. I do and I don't, because like I said, I mean, you played sports too, but like, it's just I don't know. I It's just there's a lot of gloating for being good at something that I mean, there's if you're like a pro player right now, I mean, you're definitely better than the majority. Obviously, you wouldn't be in that spot, but at the same time, you're also playing a video game with top level other players, which also improve your abilities. And the equipment you have is also better than majority of people. So like when you get down to an actual sport, we'll say baseball or track or something, your abilities are your abilities. So like the variation, I don't know. You know what I mean? Like there's and like
Yeah, it's how
esports,
much is truly you and how much is
that's what I'm
truly.
saying. Like it's either your equipment. In football, granted your equipment can make a difference in a way, but like the equipment you're using in esports is obviously what you're using, and that's defining your abilities, if that makes sense. Like I
Yep.
would say 90% of your abilities is based on your equipment. The other 10% is you and your fast twitch, your IQ, if you want to call it. So I think like, well, maybe say 85% is your equipment. But like at the end of the day, is it really a sport? Is it not a sport? I know there's competition, so like I mean like that kind of classifies as a sport. So I've always am in between on that, and I can kind of say that because like I played sports. So like I don't know. It's just I'm opinionated on that more or less.
Yeah, so I don't know. So I grew up playing lacrosse, and there was never a pro league for lacrosse. But what did happen was someone that loved lacrosse carried throughout and made a pro league because colleges adapted it. So you can go on, you can be H5 all the way through college, playing, getting all the way full rise to college. And then right after that, Color Able announces the PLL. There you go. And there goes that. So I don't know, maybe do we just need more time for it to be official or, or just early? I don't know. Because, I mean, well, the PLL still, I would say it's what, 2 years old, 3 years old.
The pro league?
So, this is the Pro Lacrosse League.
Yeah, I feel like it's not. I know it's not that old. I can tell you that much. It's only been a couple of years.
Yeah, so it's it really shows. Like I personally, I could see Hex being the one. He has been here since COD 2 to be the face and say, all right, this is what we have to do. And I would want him to be the face because, he said it on his own podcast. Being there since COD 2, you have seen the game evolve.
Mm-hmm.
You have seen what works, what doesn't work, what the community wants, whether it's zombies, whether it's the campaign, multiplayer, and comp. You know what they want. So, and let's face it, we all came from just a casual. We were never all, no one comes and you're like, yeah, we're insane at this game. You buy your first Call of Duty, you're just here to have fun. So everyone's there just to have fun at the beginning. And then you end up winning money. That's just how it is. At the beginning, there was no money. It was more fun. The money gets added.
No, there's
They
pressure.
get added. And this is where, the more money gets added, the more pressure every organization seems to be under. And, let's think back, honestly. Do you remember Roster Mania around MLG time?
Mm-hmm.
Wasn't as bad. You knew what was going to happen. If someone was going to get dropped. Because for the most part, these were your friends. This was your family that was with you. That you're going to compete with. There wasn't going to be a true Roster Mania. If there was going to be a Roster Mania, it was going to be your substitute that lived in the house with you. And that's your Roster Mania. It's, oh, dang.
Yeah, let's talk about that too. Freaking team houses back in the day. That's not a thing anymore.
Yeah, so that's the thing. Chemistry's gone. It's, we see a lot of these things that I do love some of these teams. They'll put out content. Rocker put out. They had their academy guys try spam for the first time. That was pretty funny. That's a good. But then you'll see them try to draw. Other teams mascots for the first time, and stuff like that is good. But there's nothing like. And I'm getting goosebumps from this actually. Scump's retirement video when he's walking to the setup of him and Nade in those plastic ears. Because I remember that. I remember that stream. I remember those YouTube videos.
Those are good videos.
Those are the days. Those truly were the days. I mean, MC, I could go. That was time. And I mean, I don't. It's sad. This is last year, and it's hopefully
you're always going to see him though.
Around.
He's been making so much. He's already talked about how much content he's been making.
Yeah, I hope that he stays with Optic and he's also a voice for the scene.
I mean, I think Hector would be stupid to allow someone like that to go separate more or less. Like, how would you? the guy is just he's charismatic for one. He makes good content. He's obviously good at what he does. Like you just can't let someone that kind of content go from Optic. Especially he's been with that brand for years. So like losing him, I feel like I think Hector knows that. Like if you lost so for example, if you look at all the old players that played for Optic that stays with Optic to make content, the people you think of is Embos, who really doesn't make that much content anymore. Um, you have oh, what's his face? I can't think of his face. He has it's him and those two guys that have like that their own kind of like brand, but with underneath Optic. Uh, it's like the Paradise something.
No Hitch.
Yeah. Oh my god, dude. So Hitch, he's another example. Like he makes good content too. Like then the formal again, not much content, but he's kind of more competing still a little bit. And then you have Maniac, who again, not much content. And then you have Scum. Then you have Seth, who is obviously making content while he's playing, but once he's done competing and can focus on content, dude, imagine, imagine the content that dude's gonna make. So there's literally, if you lost him, I feel like Optics content would just take it probably like 20% dive in what they're doing right now. I almost guarantee it. Because who else in Optic is making the content, the sizable content that Seth is? No one.
Yeah,
I would debate that numbers wise.
yeah. I mean, that's where I keep going back. Cause I mean, you think of Hex, and I honestly think of a father figure in esports. They both Nate Shot, anyone honestly that's been an Optic, especially the Optic Call of Duty side. I think of him as he's a father figure to all those guys. You know, Scump, Nade. I mean, whether Scump does stay or whether he says, "All right, I'm going to take some time off and then come back," he's always going to be welcome. Whether he goes to 100 Thieves, whether he goes to Optic, he's going to be welcome. Whether he starts his own organization, he's going to be loved wherever he goes.
Mm-hmm.
It. I wouldn't be shocked if this Scuff is the number one selling. It's he's just that kind of player who win lose, he's there for his team. He's there for those guys.
But he's just one of those guys that, when you think about esports, that's who you think about. He's one of the probably top 10. I would say, I'm not gonna say greatest, but like, he's one of the top five people when you think about competitive esports. He's one of them. Literally, like there's no one like. There's a couple other guys, but like when you think about competitive esports, and like a staple, he's one, maybe top 3.
Yeah, I mean, like if I close my eyes and a lot of esports, Hex honestly is going to come to mind. Stump is going to come to mind as a player, and the third one, I don't know. The third one would be hard to just crunch everyone down to the third.
You could say Crimzix, or you could say Karma, but I don't know, dude. Like it's just like it's because of it's again it's part of the reason that Seth has made a name for himself isn't just esports, it's his content. That's what people don't think about. It's like if you look at his content, that's what fuels his fan base around him and his name, and him as a brand, and that just fuels his image and likeness in esports.
Yeah, and that really is like there's the green wall and there's Scumps. I'm gonna call it guards because we call them the king.
Mm-hmm.
So you see it everywhere you go. You see it when you're, I was at Major 4 last year. You see it everywhere. You see it in New York. They're there. They're not going anywhere. Everywhere Optic goes, Skunk fans will be. And I'm curious how loud is it going to be next year? Will they keep up the noise because, they still want Optic to win for Scump, or is it going to be, less fans paying to go and actually see Optic play because they wanted to just see Scump? But I
Well,
don't
that's
know.
that's
I
the thing.
mean, it's yeah. I mean, I'm happy I get to see him again. At Major Two in Boston. It's I hope I run into him and honestly thank him for everything he's done over these years. From literally from cross master the Scorpion, double triple kills with the MSMC. It's I don't know, like, what can't he do? ASM won, like, cleaning hills in AW. He's done it all. So I don't know what else, like, Scump can do. He's lifted that trophy. He is a world champ. He's got that ring, and he deserves it. So it's like wherever he goes, he's gonna be back, and they're all gonna be happy for him. I am curious. I'm sure you saw Crim6's tweet as well. I'm curious. Is he going? Um,
Going to a different team?
he did. He tweeted out. It's official.
Oh,
Uh,
you know what? My thoughts about that. People were saying that 100 Thieves were going to pick him up.
yeah, I could see that. And I would say, like, he's like, if you watch his content this year, he's good, and that's where, like, I know that some people, like, a decent amount actually, don't like Crim6, but he's still a good player, and I am gonna wrap it into Paco. After he won, he's like, I won. I proved Crim6 wrong, but you know it's that's where you got the brotherhood. But now, all right, Crim6, we know he's not going back to that team. He's out of that circle. So what does this mean for the rest of the league? So, like, you can kind of see, like, what, knowing some circles, where is Crim going to end up? By
I
and
think it's going to have to be a team that he fits in well with. Otherwise, he's not going to go to some random team.
it's gonna be a team that are more so vets that need another vet too, because they're not gonna want. I mean, honestly, I'm upset with a decent amount of how these academy teams are going.
Why is that?
I'm upset. I mean, I think, yeah, if I think if a lot of these teams sit down, you can make your team so much better. And I'm talking from academy, switching your academy team and main team, everything. I mean, some we know they're just marketing. And I'm sure you know who I'm talking about for that.
Mm-hmm.
Some they're just absolutely insane. Their academy team, there are players on their academy team that should be on the main. But we're not in those comms. We're not in all those scrims. We're not hearing the comms. So maybe that's the issue. They're not there. They don't have the chem yet. Maybe they will be, let's say Major 3. But I just, personally, I don't know. And especially with for a season that started early, I don't know. I would really love to see something for the academy, like whether we get at least all academy teams just playing each other, so we can see which academy team truly is the best. I would love to see something for the academy team to prove themselves to not only their organization, but to all of the players in the CDL, because They all have something to prove. They're in the CDL. They all are in there for a reason. So let them prove themselves. Don't like you got to at this point be in a franchise on a challenger not challenger academy team is the closest to I guess the CWL format that we're ever going to see again, which is sad. Like I mean, we grew up we both saw them grinding through pool play. Playing whether it's ghost gaming, denial, these it's like HK or whatever everything. There were so many orgs back then.
Mm-hmm.
There's like probably more than 128 that were trying to go. I remember people always trying to buy those passes. You can't even do that anymore. So it really was just. I wish they gotta do something where they showcase more talent, and I think they gotta look at Apex and say Apex is doing it perfect.
And at what point, because it's driven by money, do they not change anything? Because realistically speaking, right now they're making a ton of money off of what they're doing.
I think it's going to come down to optic. And with that, when I mean optic, I mean this is Scumps last year. There's already rumors flying around of optic selling their spot.
Really?
I wouldn't be shocked if they sell it in there because of how much stress X is under. And I mean, it's just I mean, Hex literally he made a great example. He was like, you got the sandwich. Where's the meat? I mean, like you don't have the actual product. That you're paying $25 million for a league to be run correctly, and you're not getting that.
Well, I've heard him complain about how they're running it. And I remember, I guess I don't know if I told you this last time, but there was one podcast. He goes, to be honest, if they run more online tournaments and we have to compete online again, he's like, I'm gonna say no, we're not doing that. That's ridiculous. I'm not paying for the spot to do that.
And I agree. I mean, we weren't before. Events would be canceled. I'm talking pre-COVID. If something went on, these events would be canceled. You wouldn't be playing from your, I'm going to say your 360 at home. You're going to be having guys use walls, everything. There's no way they're playing an event at home. And I don't blame them. I would never want to do that.
But you're literally paying $25 million for that spot, right? You're paying $25 million for a spot. You're paying how much, whatever it is, their salary, the given salary per player, for them to play online.
But it still comes down to. That's where it comes down to. And I'm going to say this. This is a quote, I guess, we can even take from an academy player. On land, you're never going to hit that shot. Players say that, and I mean, or even I mean, this is another one. He doesn't even get that shot off on land. We hear this all the time, and it's not
different.
Whether it's true or not. I mean, with the M4, yeah, okay, it's different. All right, now we got the TAC 56, but it's like you need land to just show everyone's even. You can't have, people with, all right, we all got fiber. What are we gonna do? House 12 organizations, all down in Texas, get them all fiber, all in the same building. Also use the complexity, GameStop, center. Like it just doesn't make sense. You can't do it to make them even. There's no way to make it even.
Mm-hmm.
So the only way is to have them at that land. So I'm with Hex. If you're gonna say, all right, here comes, especially right now, we're seeing a rise of COVID, which was predicted, but if it's gonna go on, and they're gonna cancel a major and say, hey, major 2 or major 3 is online. No, I would 100% say no. Yes, I'm with them. You're not paying for an online. So you're not paying for online. If you wanted that, go play pub, go play ranked play, go play money eights with your guys.
So I'm saying, man, like that's what I'm saying. Like you have this sport that you're paying that's so many millions and millions and millions of dollars involved in, and they're like, no, you gotta stay home and do it like that. It's like, dude, they're paying so much money to be involved in something for livelihoods and whatever, and that that's like uh NFL players. Oh, you gotta play the Packers and the Cowboys to play against each other on Madden. You know what I mean? And granted, it's not really the same. I shouldn't really. I don't know. It's not really the fair comparison, but like the optimal competitive area or competitive environment, they're not allowing it. And why would you pay all this money to not to do that? To compete at the highest level possible.
Yeah, and I mean, and it's not like strangers are the ones franchising either, right? I mean, you look at who's buying, some of these franchises. You know, they own, they own traditional sports teams. We're gonna say they don't just go in there's like, yeah, I guess esports is popping off. No, they're already in the traditional sports area. That's why the apparel went straight to Fanatics once the franchise happened. Was because you had teams that were in the NHL, in the NFL, like already there. We were already in that space. So it made sense. Let's up the price from $60 to $80 for a jersey, which, sorry, that's going to take a little bit for me to get that. I'd rather take in like a hoodie for an extra $10.
Mm-hmm.
That was insane. Than an $80 seat. But it's just, it doesn't make sense. Like, a lot of what they're doing is, if you're growing up now, you're not gonna really have. It's gonna be hard. You're gonna have to grind. You're not gonna ask for, I don't know, for Christmas. You're not gonna go and be like, ooh, you know what? I want this controller for my big present. Your big present is going to be one upgrade, and then you're gonna have to save up for your birthday to get another upgrade for your computer. Like it's just not at a point where people should have to worry about, okay, I really have to pour like pretty much a year's worth of savings to be able to play at a reasonable level.
Exactly.
And compete with everyone. And it, like we were talking about, let's just bring it back to, it's the 360 days. But I don't know, like whether there's just a console that comes out in the next year or 2, 3 years, I don't know. That is going to be the dedicated console. I think that is the way we have to go. I love, I won't lie. I never thought I'd be switching over to a PC from, Xbox to PlayStation. But, I mean, it's fast. It's good for multitasking. But,
dude, not to mention this game, how many people have had problems with it just crashing?
And that's the thing. Don't get me started. It crashes only on PC. It doesn't crash on your console. Oh. So you're gonna get a game. You can only the league is on PC, but you're not good. But it's gonna crash on PC. But it's not. But we can't play console. Like I don't get it.
I mean, you saw Nate Shot's. You saw his video, right?
Trust me, I saw it. Trust me, if I was Nate Shot, I'm done. At that point, I am done. You put days worth in. You are grinding for your fans. You are doing that for your community. Yeah, he wants it, but he wants to get that for his community. And guess what else he's doing for it? He is marketing the game. So, guess what? You should be saying, Nate Shot, thank you. Not, okay, sorry, servers are down and you don't get it. Now go again. No, you fix it. We get this all the time, and we get it year after year. We shouldn't be dealing with this. I mean, I go back, fucking sorry my language, but we go back in Vanguard. I had to go back and look at Vanguard from what to close out when we were closing out the season. Why am I throwing it at nothing and it's bouncing back at me? Absolutely nothing. Oh my gosh. There are still areas. There are no leaves. You can hit nothing and it bounces back. Fix that.
Dude, it comes down to literally everything we've talked about comes down to competitive esports in the Call of Duty realm is literally just taking a dump or shitting on the common person. And not just the common person, but the common person that's trying to improve themselves and become at that next level. The level that they have so much money involved in, but yet they're allowing so very few people to even get to that level.
Yeah, and that's why I use the PLL, is because Paul Rabel saw that happening. He was like, all right, what can I do to motivate these kids to want to pursue this in college, because there's not much after college to do that. Okay, let me go ahead. I'm going to keep grinding in the MLL, and then, make the PLL for these guys so they have something to look forward to after they graduate college. There you go. Let's not go, all right, let's get the money for me and, yeah, we're good. Activision, thanks. Do we have to put this in words for Atari words and the Atari coding? I don't know. I truly don't know. Are they still coding shit in Atari Activision over there? I know that's where you guys started out, but you should know how to code stuff, considering you were the first to do it. Mm-hmm. You were the first ones to do it. You should be able to be the first one to get your games out and your games out right. If you can't be the first ones to do that, then at least be the first ones to get games out and games fixed.
Yeah.
But they're not. They're not giving us anything. They're not listening.
But they listen to the pros. Kind of.
They're not. They're exactly. Thank you. Yeah, I was gonna say. I don't know. They kind of do listen to the pros. I mean, Activision. I don't know. I truly don't know. It could be their time. It genuinely could.
Let's hope.
They've been around. But it would be sad to see COD go. Could another company like Riot continue on COD? I mean, yeah, but it's storyline, everything. We don't know what to expect from that. It's just, we want to see everything get fixed back to how it was when they were hoisting up that MLG trophy. And that's really the downside. I miss, 2018. That was the year. 2018 was the last time. After that, it just went downhill.
Yeah, it's not. I don't know, man. Like I said, I think even though there's so much money involved and all that revenue they bring in, I still think it's in such a bad spot. For all the reasons we talked about, and I think we'll kind of end it there, kind of close it out there. But I don't know, man. It sucks to see that. You see a sport that's growing in that trend, but Call of Duty is just meh.
Yeah. And it's sad, too. Yeah. I mean, because you see these other esports that were predicted to die out, spike, while COD dies.
Yeah. Oh, man. Like I said, we've already been talking for almost an hour and a half, and we keep on talking. Funny. That's a funny thing. To it's not esports is not a lucrative topic. Like you can talk about a variety of things that tie into it and how it impacts things, especially uh, in the digital world per se. Um, but yeah, I appreciate you coming on finally, and um, I know we'll be talking soon for sure. But I will in the YouTube video I will include like your Twitter, Litecoin kind of information there. Um, is there any promotional things you want to say as far as kind of like what Litecoin is going on?
Just honestly, everyone just give up the grind. If you're watching this, keep it up. It will get noticed at some point. Um, but it was awesome. Catching up. Look forward to talking again once I'm back at
Mm-hmm.
Northwood, and I'm actually at a full setup then.
Yeah.
and
Again, this isn't a bad situation. It's just it's. I think it's nicer for people to see a face. Um, but that's just. I just think it's better for content. But
yeah,
um,
don't worry, I'll be in 4K next time. We'll get that 4K camera on me.
boom.
We'll even zoom in so we'll start in on the little eye. Don't worry, we'll 4K that.
I can guarantee people are going to look forward to that. But
Yeah, yeah, Void, if you're here, yeah, Void, if you ever watch this, don't worry, I got you. I'll even
I
throw a
got you.
dab.
That's awesome. All right. So again, Evan, thanks for coming on. And for everyone here, I appreciate you if you're watching this video. And if there's something that you enjoy doing digitally, I implore you to find the roots to that. And hope you guys have a good rest of your night. And thanks for watching.